Hey y'all, Luna popping in again, and this time I am going to talk about 5 months as a nomad, y'all. I have crossed that 5 month bridge, and I am going to share the ins, outs, ups, downs, positive, negatives about it. Now, when I first came out in December, I knew absolutely nothing. And I was fortunate enough to connect with a couple of people in a caravan to get me started. Now, that didn't last long as the caravan was quickly dismantled, and some funky little shenanigans happened that I wasn't aware of until a little bit later. But it happened, and they left my ass. And I had to figure out how to do this shit really quickly. You know what I mean? Um, it was some dissension in the ranks. I don't know what happened between them because I was a newbie to the group. I don't know what happened, but within 2 weeks, I was pretty much separated from the group because of restrictions from the rangers that came around and inspected vehicles, and anyone who did not have a black water tank, which is a toilet, they had to move within 500 yards of the toilet of the nearest toilet. And so that's the first separation I had from the group. But I didn't find out for a little while. And people in the caravan told me that I only had to move because I was ratted on by two other members of the caravan who didn't have a black water tank either. But I wasn't even in town. They just ratted me out, I guess for company's sake. I don't know why they did it, but that's how I ended up separate from the group the first time. And that couple, we relocated together, and then they upped and left. They left me anyway, so they could have just left me alone over there with the other group. No one would have been any wiser had they not opened their mouths. So that's how I ended up with my travel buddy, my partner, the gentleman I traveled with for a couple of weeks. And he helped me a lot. And both the groups helped me a lot. Now, I will always say that they got me out here and they got me started. And for that, I will always be grateful because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And they helped me tremendously. I mean, the way they left me was kind of fucked up, but it happened. But they got me started, and all I could think of was, okay, what's next? How am I going to make this work? I didn't skip a beat. Okay, you're gone. That doesn't. It's not the end for me. Life still goes on. And I linked up with another gentleman who helped me as well. He helped me with my solar power and or getting the solar panels and my power station installed and all. And he fucked up my car some though. I'm I do have to say that he did. You have to be careful. I have learned you have to be careful allowing people to do things on your vehicle because just because they seem knowledgeable may not mean that they truly are knowledgeable. And he did cause some damage to my vehicle, but for the most part, it is functioning and operating in the way that I need to survive. So for that, I am grateful. But the thing with him, unfortunately, was he kind of prided himself as being a wise ass, and his words were, "I could bring people to tears with my words." He kind of was proud of being a nasty person, and I was say, "Oof, oh boy, how long is this going to take?" And he tried it with me, and unfortunately for him, I gave it back to his ass and he couldn't take it. So apparently I was probably one of the very few people who have, put his ass back in his place because verbal abuse is something that I'm very, very much aware of, and I have zero tolerance for it because I grew up with an abusive mother and I've had abusive relationships. My last relationship was verbally abusive as well. And so whenever anybody tries to come at me in that angle, I nip that shit really quickly. And I think it surprised him how I, handled it, and you know he no longer wants to speak with me. That's absolutely fine because the way you were speaking to me or were attempting to speak to me was not going to fly anyway. And what makes it worse is when people try to use their mental health issues as an excuse for their nasty behavior. Unacceptable. Not on my watch. So here I am again solo, which I prefer which I prefer. I've learned enough and I've gathered enough resources and knowledge to survive on my own at this state. Do I have a lot to learn still? Absolutely. Absolutely. But have I learned a lot? Yes. And I attribute it to everyone who's crossed paths with me. I am appreciative for what they have taught me, the good and the bad. But as far as me being out here, it's so peaceful. I enjoy it. But in all reality, I am struggling. I am financially strapped. I left my relationship with nothing. I don't get any kind of support or anything. I have disability income, and out of that income, I have to pay for my car note, a car I had to purchase in order to live this lifestyle because I was homeless as a result of the end of our relationship, or the end of our relationship is a result of homelessness. Once I found out we were homeless, I was like, this is over. I'm not doing this anymore. I hung on to the relationship much longer than I should have, and I am aware of that. And I will attribute it to being afraid. I was afraid of my new disabled body. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to be independent and self sufficient or care for myself. It was very scary times. I really thought I was going to die. In 2018, I didn't think I was going to live to see the end of 2018. And by the grace of God and the ancestors and Great Spirit and everybody else, I I'm here. I survived it. And I am reclaiming my fucking time. I'm reclaiming my life. Is it difficult? Yes. I'm penny pinching like a son of a bitch. I My money does not last through the month. I have about $300 to $350 to live off of. That includes my food, the dog's food, gas for my car and the generator, and propane for my propane heater, and any other incidentals that I need during the month. And we all know that $350 doesn't go a long way. So I get out here and I sit. I don't move my car for a week at a time because I can't afford the gas. I don't go out and have burgers and fried, well, I don't eat burgers or turkey burgers or veggie burgers or wings and pizza because I can't afford it. Will I treat myself to it once or twice a month? Absolutely, because I believe we should. And but I also know that once I do that, I will be restricted and won't be able to go anywhere because of finances. Would I do it again? Absolutely, because I refuse to be held under the thumb of abuse, of narcissism, of negativity, of anything that is unpleasant because I am fear. Fear is a killer. And I was afraid of my body. I was afraid of my failing body. I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to support myself or care for myself. I was afraid being ill, becoming suddenly chronically ill, changed me in ways that even surprised me. I became so fearful because my body wasn't reliable. But here I am, and I'll say this to anybody: leave, start over. It may be rough, it may be tough in the beginning, but it'll get better. Stay positive, be optimistic, have faith. It will get better. Being out here not having enough money is 1,000 times better than being in an abusive, negative relationship. 5 months in, and I don't regret it. I have peace. I need money. I do need money. I will never say that this shit is easy. Financially, it's not easy, and physically, it's demanding. It's hard as hell, too. It's really hard on my body, but I will do this and I will perfect this before I ever allow myself to go back to that abuse. 5 months as a nomad. Luna out.